Welcome back again to another edition of Nerdy Weekends. I am Kung Fu Mo.
And I am the guy he beat up, Lou, with the kung fu. Go.
Keep that in mind.
Yes.
And another edition. Thanks for joining us again. And today, a little different, as we've always said. Please share us any show ideas, anything you want to put out there as a topic to talk about. So this one came from Amanda Padilla. Thank you. And topic was, or at least the discussion she wanted to have us about was old Spider-Man versus new Spider-Man. And I don't know about you, but I'm still a fan of the old Spider-Man. That Peter Parker.
The one that Stan Lee originally conceived, yes.
Exactly. I mean, there's not a time that I used to not come home rush, and then right there at that time, just to hear that and the music, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. Who don't know that? Who doesn't know that thing from word for word? Oh my God, the true fan love does whatever Spider can.
But I liked it because Spider-Man he portrayed the everyday teenager.
Yes, he did.
The struggles he dealt with without having his parents.
Mm-hmm.
Without just and having the responsibility of the power. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yes,
he had all that. So I like that version of Spider-Man. Now you have all these weird incarnations of Spider-Man.
True.
And you have clones on top of clones. You have bad guys taking over the role of Spider-Man. Like Doc Ock, I believe he got into the suit of Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And then you have Miles Morales, which I'm not knocking him, but again, even his storylines are kind of sounding similar to Spider-Man, with the new storyline of being the clone of Miles Morales.
It's kind of like a wash, rinse, and repeat type of thing. I mean, when I watched the old Spider-Man, he was a teenager. Mm-hmm. He had the spider powers, but every time he came up against a villain, he didn't rely totally on his powers to defeat the villain. He figured it out because he was smart. That's the one thing that they didn't touch too much upon him. And in comparison to something now, like say for the cinematic universe, the Tom Holland kind of fits that bit because he uses his intelligence to try and figure things out. I mean, he created his own web through it, whereas Andrew Garfield got it from the company because they created packets of web they took from the actual spider.
Yes.
Unlike Tobey Maguire's, of course, is naturally coming out of him.
Which is freaky, but
very. Even doing that kind of made me scared. I'm going to be shooting out something, so see me tighten up. But just going back to the original Peter Parker, even when he spoke, it's like there was that duality. Like the voice actor had the younger, he portrayed himself younger when he was talking like Peter Parker. But as soon as the mask comes on, boom, it sounded more of an adult Peter Parker, like almost like Batman, but with just webs.
Batman, to me, I always compared Spider-Man to Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
Which they hide their other identity with the changing of the voice.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Yeah, because quite frankly, all the years in watching Batman, the only time I actually made sense with the voice change is when Ben Affleck had the modulator. Mm-hmm. Whereas all the others, it's more like this. I'm Batman. It's like, you kidding me? It's like, how can you? I can see why you need to go to sleep at the end of the night. Your throat is shot. You sound like this, talking to people the next day. What happened? Oh, I had a wild night. Well, wild night.
Especially when he got out the Joker.
Who are you?
No, but anyway, we're not gonna do. It's about Spider-Man today. It's about Spider-Man, not Batman.
It is about Spider-Man.
It is about Spider-Man. There's a storyline that I've been meaning to get into because I saw the outline for it, and it's basically a Peter Parker who goes and falls into a large radioactive spider. It's like a big like a swimming pool type thing, but it's all radioactive Spider-Man. They
Hmm.
eat up the body,
Mm.
but they take his subconscious. So they create a body based out of spiders,
Hmm.
and he's Peter Parker. But every time he takes off his mask, it's the head of it's a bunch of spiders forming the head.
Ew.
It was very very
Wow.
it's wow and it's weird, but I want to get into it because I think that was very original.
Hmm. So it's kind of like a symbiosis, like kind of like
Yeah.
like a venom type, but except it has to do with all the spiders forming together
Yes.
to create a head.
To create
So
a
it's
head.
just like 1,000 spiders that
A
create
human,
the head.
a human body. Period.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting. You got the horror and the science all meld into one in that respect.
It
But he's
creates the
still a
hero.
hero.
Yes.
So yeah, I can see how that could be very interesting
Yeah.
in that respect. But but again, falling back to the old, I mean, the storylines and some of the villains that he's faced. Like again, I love that '60s version. I mean, even when the '80s versions came along, like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends,
Yes.
Firestar and Iceman, and then they had the introduction of the X-Men to follow. Mm, that was a little different. But the thing is, Spider-Man was a little bit more different. He was still in high school, and so was Firestar and Iceman.
The only
They're
thing,
as high school students together.
the only thing that killed me was whenever they converted the room into the high tech. Where the hell did they get that money?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yo. Meanwhile, they can't afford lunch, but they got all this stuff.
Hey, all this stuff just for the Switch, everything. I was like, yo, who's bankrolling you, bro?
Yeah. It's either Tony Stark or Professor X.
One of those two, and they're both rich. I'm
Now,
like,
one of my favorite episodes in the cartoon series was when Spider-Man had to join the X-Men.
oh yes,
And Professor X is reading his mind, and he's nervous.
yeah,
And in his mind, Professor X tells him your identity is safe.
yeah. You
And
tell
also-
them that.
In the comic book version, when he teams up with Wolverine for the first time, I believe it's in Perceptions, Wolverine can sniff that he's Peter Parker.
Because he has those
Yes.
feral instincts, and the
Yes.
scent does not change. So he knew who he was by the
Yes.
scent alone.
That was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I think my favorite storyline, or at least I like to say the events that led up to it, will always be the not the Secret Wars, but the Initiative, and that is Civil War. The Initiative is around that time where
It was after the Civil
no, this was during Civil War when the separation started happening.
War. Okay.
Tony Stark's group and faction, and then Captain America's group and faction. And at some point, he actually convinced Spider-Man to join his initiative and signed on to the point where they held a press conference. And I loved it because the press conference, he then tells the world, and he takes his mask off and shows that he's Peter Parker.
Yes.
C.J. Jonah. Ah, bam! He falls over in his chair.
But
He's like, ha ha! You
like
lost
that.
it.
I like that whole JJ, what is it, the Daily Bugle thing. He had to take pictures of Spider-Man. I
Nope.
thought that was very creative
Mhm.
in Stan Lee to do that.
J.K. Rowling, you will always be my J. Jonah Jameson. There's no one else I can think of who
Yes.
could play the part the way you did.
He looked
Ever.
it.
He looked it, he spoke it, he embodied it in so many
Yes. It's
different
like
ways.
he was born and meant to do that role.
Even in memes, he's in there where somebody does something
Yes.
stupid, he sits there and he does a laugh, and I'm just, oh.
No, yeah.
He is my. When I saw him, and then in the MCU version, not in the Sony, but in the MCU, when it was like half falling, Spider-Man, No Way Home,
Yes.
and he was there. Okay, still the same Jonah, but I'm telling you, it's like wow. When I saw it in the comic book, he fell back on his chair, and that was it. But then, through the events that followed, he changed his mind. Peter changed his mind, and there was a scene where they were supposed to have a meet, and Iron Man decided to come along, but Cap had some of his friends with them, and Peter pulled a double cross. But you know what? Iron Man was like, because this is at the time that Iron Man had the extremists in him. So he just sat there, just thought the suit comes on, but he did something to Peter that no one else did. He figured out the frequency of his spider sense and was triggering it at will, triggering it, and then bang, knocked him out. Took him out of the game. I was like, what? That was one time I was like, what? You figured out his spider sense like that? I thought that was just a natural thing that hits him. Then no, there's a frequency, and he came up with this whole time. Like, oh. When I read that, I was like, wow. It's like, but the brilliance of storytelling with a little bit of believability behind it, and whatever science jargon you want to come up with, natural jargon, man, that was a good. I like that one. The Initiative was definitely one from Civil War was definitely one of my favorite titles to watch. And then, of course, now to the newer ones, Spider-Man 2099.
Oh, I wish they would make a live action of that.
I mean, they did the Spider-Verse version of it animated, but I would love. I mean, this is where I'm saying again, Disney Secret Wars. This is it, bro. Bring it home. Mira, toma, look. I give you my fucking wallet. Toma, take it.
The what?
Take it.
The what?
That's my money. Give me back.
What kind of wallet are you giving them again? I'm curious.
Huh? I'm giving them money because I say, hey, here's the stories. Put it in Secret Wars because it's a multiverse event. Put it in there. I will throw my wallet at you if you give me that. If you give me that, give us the fans that. Big time, bro. I will throw that wallet at you because yes, here's where I say, like, if you don't, like I was saying before in the last show when it came to Blade, if you don't have a story yet, you have Secret Wars. Bring Wesley Snipes, Mahershala. They're there. It's a multiversal thing. Whatever happens, happens. You give him the ending he deserves so that he can move on. And Mahershala carries the torch going in back to his prime universe. Same thing with Spider-Man. You know, Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, they're all there. And then Spider-Man 2099 shows up. And man, it's almost like a nerd's dream come true, my dream come true, and just writing that whole thing and just trying to come up. You don't have to come up with too much because they're all. Secret Wars is about battling for the survival of their universe.
Yes.
That's it. So yes, you know you're gonna have those moments, and yeah, it's one of those ensembles where you can get away with it because if you can do an Infinity War and you can do an Endgame, you can do a Secret Wars. That's why I'm elated. I'm beyond words that the Russo brothers are doing this.
Do you remember the Secret Wars animated when they did it back in the day with Spider-Man? When he's at the front of the big viewing computer screen.
Oh yeah,
and he picks who he wants on his team.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they do. I hope to God they do that with Spider-Man.
I would hope so too. It would be nice to see that.
It would be awesome.
It would be because then it's like, you know, and do like this one particular YouTuber that I love watching, Bat in the Sun. Well, I mean, props to you guys. They came up with the whole brilliant idea of the superpower beatdown, where you take like two iconic characters and then you put them together and then the fans vote. Mm-hmm. Well, here's an idea. Let the fans vote when it comes to Secret Wars who they want to see. Disney, stay the hell out of it. Leave us, the people who are going to put our asses in those seats, and yes, I use the word ass, I'm sorry, and pay the money to sit and watch this film. Please give us that opportunity to say who we want to see. Don't decide, you know, oh, we have to have more of a Captain Marvel, or more of a She-Hulk, or more of a Firestorm. No. Let us decide who we want to see. Because I will say this much. Like, particularly, and I can see where Disney was going with this, like, in one particular scene in Endgame, when the ladies got together. and they were going to go say, we got this. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, ooh. One time I was like, ooh. Well, you could have that same ooh moment, as long as you give us, the fans, to say who we want to see doing it. Don't just throw it on us. Ask us.
Keep the woo moment for one more second.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of seconds. Welcome back to Ricans. I'm Gorgeous Lou.
And I'm Lovely Mo. Ooh,
Ooh.
ooh. So
Back to the subject.
as I was saying, that was like the ooh moment for me, seeing all those ladies, each one of them in their own right, from Wasp, Captain Marvel, the Doja Mala, man, and of course Rescue. All these right there in that one whole scene, I'm like, oh damn, and I was like, that's good. So if moving forward and like I said, giving us fans, an opportunity to vote and say, hey, this is what we want to see. I mean, you're doing a Secret War, so basically anybody can show up in Secret Wars. I mean, and even if it is, if I don't want to say majority of more women than male characters, no, to keep it as the storyline goes. But if you want to throw in something extra, ask us.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones that are going to put our asses in the seats. And yeah, I said asses the second time.
Donkey.
And watch this thing. So give us what we want. It's really not hard to ask for because we've been waiting for God knows half a lifetime for technology to come to the point to bring these characters to life and these actors to bring this to life to us. Give us the choice to see what we want to see. I mean, if the majority said Jessica Jones, and boom, I want to see Jessica Jones in there, even if she's in a jeans and t-shirt, but she's kicking butt.
One of the good, bring it back to the Spider-Man thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the character that I liked, which came out of Spider-Man himself, which it was his daughter. It started off as a what if.
Yes.
It started off as a what if, and in that what if, Spider-Man had lost a leg,
mm-hmm.
and his daughter became Spider-Girl.
Yep.
I thought that was amazing. Then they spun it off, gave it like a 12 issue.
Yeah.
I think they should have kept going with it because it was good. But then Miles Morales came out, which again, it was great. I'm a little upset I passed on the first issue 3 times,
mm-hmm.
but it was great. But I think they should have kept going with Spider-Girl. If you have a comic book issue with Spider-Girl, hold on to it.
Yeah, that's going to be worth a lot because it's going to be worth a lot.
And I have a feeling Marvel's going to do something with it.
Yeah, because when you look at it, Marvel and DC, there's never a shortage of characters.
No.
Male or female, okay? And there's no reason that you have to push one for the other. Both equally there, both could be seen. And if you had to, give us, like I said, the fans the choice to see who we want to see. As far as, like, if you already have your main set of characters and there's a couple of extras that you're not so sure about, give us the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Let us decide who we want to see because, again, we're going to pay to see it. We're the ones that want to see this. That's why. That's why it's like, for like what now, since, I'm going to go as far as back as 94, like when the first Fantastic Four and that first Captain America came out. From that point forward, it didn't really gain ground, but by the time whenever Blade started, all the way till now, I mean, even though there's one director, I forgot his name now, that he did a lot of films, mafioso films, and they were great. I'm not taking anything away from that, but he said it himself that, oh, this thing with superheroes, it will die.
It's a fade.
It's not a fad. It's an ongoing thing, and we love it. We grew up with it. And in that essence, it's not dying anytime soon.
No.
There may be a gap of a year or two, but quite frankly, this is not something that's going to die because there's if you look at a poster that shows Marvel characters, I guarantee you'll lose count after 100, and still there'll be more to count.
It's actually a poster like that.
There are 2 of them, but both DC and Marvel, of all the characters they have.
There's another one of X-Men itself that came in the book.
Yeah, and there's so many characters to choose from. Like the fact that I love that they picked Nova, which was part of the Spider-Man trio in the latest cartoon version. That Nova, Sam's Nova,
mm-hmm.
was in there, so that Nova's going to have his own spin-off.
Yeah,
I think it's a show, but I think they're talking more movie show.
I heard a series.
I heard a series too, so I'm hoping for that. And of course, crossing my fingers that it winds up being Richard Rider versus Sam. But either one, I've read both and I love both.
I hope they bring back She-Hulk. Honestly,
Well,
I
yeah.
liked it.
I'm not gonna lie, I did like it too, especially as like the fact that my eyebrow raised for a CGI character doing the shake.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, what?
That was.
I was like, whoa. I mean, again, she breaks the fourth wall. She is a good character. She is a good character.
Mhm.
I mean, the fact that Daredevil was doing the walk of shame, I'm like, whoop. mm. So I would love to see that, even if they cross paths with each other at some point, even let's say in New York, and say Spider-Man cross paths with her.
Yeah.
That would be so good to watch. To see how she would play that, like she did with Daredevil.
Not to break off the subject for a quick minute, Mo, who would you like to see in the franchise? Your favorite franchise? Star Trek.
Uh-oh.
Like me,
Okay.
I'm already getting mine. Darth Vader's gonna have his own series. Who would you like to see in that universe getting their own 6-episode series? Solo.
Wow, a solo series or a solo story? Because they do have something called short treks where they do short
Yeah.
short
No,
stories.
series. Like
A full series?
yeah.
Hmm.
Like Picard started out like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. When they brought back Picard, they did the same thing. They gave, this is years later. He's retired and
Right.
stuff.
So who would you in all the iterations of Star Trek, who would you like? Me personally, I would pick Spock.
I'm thinking Spock.
Spock and Data.
I would love to see with Spock as far as the years after Starfleet, because he was the reason that the Romulans did the whole thing of reunification.
Yes.
So they introduced it in the Next Generation, but from the time that the ending of was it Undiscovered Country until you see him again in Unification in the Next Generation, that small gap.
Mhm.
And tell that story when he decided at that point to follow the path towards reunification of his people, Vulcan and Romulan.
Mhm.
That is a storyline. 6 episodes. I don't even care if it goes 10, but I think that there is a great piece of work. I mean, I would love to see Ethan Peck pull that off.
Yes.
Because I have to say, look, out of all the actors, I mean, that followed Nimoy after that, Zachary Quinto, Ethan Peck, but I mean, Zachary is great, but his character of Spock, though similar, is different in the sense that it's an alternate universe, and Peck is more of the prime universe. And between the two, the closest to Nimoy, I would say Peck. And the one factor that kicks it over, ladies, cover your children's ears, and you're gonna know why. Okay, the voice.
Mhm.
The one thing that stood out the strongest with Nimoy was his voice. That deep, resonating baritone, and Peck has it. So we give it a separate thing. We call it Bahapantis, type of voice. That's Peck and that's Nimoy. Zachary, not so much, but he has more of the
Scientific.
hell, even the rage. Like when he lost control, he lost control. He didn't have the kind of control that the Prime one had, because in the alternate universe, he didn't say restrain himself. He cut loose, and he had to get railed back.
I wasn't a major fan of that alternate
They're still working on the fourth one.
one because I mean everything was done backwards.
Yeah.
Everything was done backwards. Instead of Khan, it was just backwards. It was just.
I was surprised that when I saw it's like who was Khan, I was like, wait.
The alternate Star Trek. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
So, as I was saying before, that would be the ultimate six-part story that I would love to see from the time he left Starfleet and until the time he infiltrated Romulus and started the whole reunification movement.
I would like to know how he even did it. How he even infiltrated.
Exactly.
So
that to me is like the greatest story you could tell right now.
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting.
And they did use that whole story plot line in Discovery when they were already in the 31st century, and the unification did happen. You had the Purists, you had the Romulans, and then you had like just other Vulcans as well. And they did show like Nimoy talking about it in his a clip or used as historic material, but it's actually a clip from the actual episode of Reunification. And he's looking, she's getting misty eyed because she's seeing what her brother did now in the 31st century, what her brother's legacy has been. So yeah, that would be the one character, and that would be the storyline. I would say, even if it's 6 episodes or 10, because I think you might need a little more, but that should be it. That
Yeah.
should be it. So Paramount, if you're listening, do that. Spock, Ethan Peck, the whole storyline of reunification from the time he left Starfleet until he infiltrated Romulus.
Anyone who's listening, Paramount, if you have a Paramount sharing thing, share this with Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
See what happens.
See what happens. But back to Spider-Man. Again, so many iterations, and now with the whole, I call it the multiverse, all these different Spider-Man. So yeah, it's like one, like you see the change of the old one, but no one's really personified that old one that I love so much watching. I mean, again, Tom Holland does in some ways, as far as the live action is concerned, but as far as
Tom
animation, not so much.
Tom Holland plays the ultimate Spider-Man because he, and I don't give it to him all the way. I give it to the writers. They didn't give us another origin story.
No.
They just gave us. He's already established.
Yep.
That's it. In YouTube, he has videos of him with a mask, and that was great. Show us what he did through the YouTube channel that he was watching that people kept recording.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's what all established characters need.
Yep.
We already know who they are. We already know what they're about. Let's start a story.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. I'm Brawless Mo.
And I'm holding his bra Lou.
Welcome back. As we were saying before the commercial break, the whole different iterations that are out there, even in anime, and I've yet to see, with the exception of the Tom Holland live action, that the old Spider-Man, him, and Tom Holland, they have the same characteristics in the sense that his intelligence stands out. He understands about the multiverse in the second film, Far From Home. He understands in that also how to recreate using Stark's technology, the suit, his next level suit. And then, of course, when you have Far From Home, he understood how each one of all the rogues, how to fix their problems. With Doc Ock, the chip that failed, just replacing it so that way he has control over it again. And then, of course, the other two Spider-Man then came in and chimed in their thoughts, because again, each one of them are scientists in some ways. I mean, genius level, I'm gonna have to say, on par, pretty much there. But at the same time, they also have their abilities in which they use to how can I say, to then stop criminals, to stop their rogues. I mean, even in Civil War, he understood that Captain America's shield didn't obey the laws of physics because of the vibranium, how it struck the ground and it would just go a different way, or almost pretty much obey and follow and return to him. So there you have it. So he encompasses a little bit of that character. So whoever was writing that must have been thinking about how this Spider-Man, the crime fighter, the one who figures things out, put it into this kid,
Could
a
you
portion at least.
could you imagine an anime Spider-Man? The way they did with the X-Men and the way they did with
I would love that, and I have that. I have
Wolverine.
I have the, of course, the original '97, or the '94 version of those, but I also have the one that's anime,
Hmm.
that one season anime.
That was awesome.
Hell yeah!
That was awesome.
Again, they brought. I mean, I give it to the guys overseas, Japan. They have this knack,
They take it to another level.
and when they create
Hmm.
characters, oh, I mean, it's mind blown, bro. So doing a Spider-Man, oh, I would
In
love
anime.
them seeing them do that in anime.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a lot. They did live action back in the days. I mean, comical, but to say the least,
Yeah.
still good. I mean, I never knew, Spider-Man knew kung fu, but when I watched the Japan version of it, loved it. But if they did an anime version of it,
Oh, that'd be great.
so if you're listening out there, please give us an anime version, please. Netflix, I mean, talk to you guys. I mean, you did Terminator Zero, a Spider-Man anime, decent storyline. Hell, you can create the Sinister Six. There you go.
Any artists out there, if you feel you want to draw it out, let us see what you think, your interpretation of it. Post it on our line.
Oh, would love to see
I'd love
that.
to see it.
Definitely give you total credit on that
Yeah.
one, bro. Definitely. But yeah, seeing that and seeing all these iterations from the multiverse, both in comic book and now in the theater version, with I think part 3 is just around the corner soon,
Of
of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
yeah.
The part 3 is just around the corner. That because it kind of left you on a cliffhanger. So I kind of hate that. I'm still waiting for it, but it did leave you on a cliffhanger. You want to see how this thing, pulls
Now
itself together.
we mentioned Spider-Man 2099 in our last show.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be great to see that live action? Wouldn't it be great to and what was his name? Because there's two of them. There's two different ones.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the names, but one was Spanish.
Yes. Miguel something.
The original
The original.
2099.
29.
Now there's another one.
Mm-hmm.
2099.
And the thing is, his spikes were genetic.
Mm-hmm.
So like Tobey Maguire's, let me do that, not do that again. Shoot something out. But while Tobey Maguire's webs shoot out of him genetically because it was part of his makeup, so did the 2099, the claws that pop out of his arm that he
Yes.
would use to climb. And he had, instead of having like the sticky fingers, he had pretty much like claw fingers that dug into the surface and helped him to climb. So, I mean, wow. I mean, he definitely was. When they did that whole 2099 series with all the different characters, Hulk, him, and the fact that the suit I loved, the abilities were interesting because he was able to use the wings or the span in his costume to literally glide. I mean, but literally glide a distance, not like just glide to a certain point, web, and then grab him. No, he glide distance.
Yeah.
He rode some sort of, he rode the airwaves all the way to wherever destination instead of having to use webs. I mean, he still had them, but not in the same way, used the same way as you would say Peter Parker would use it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was good to see that there was a twist with it. I mean, even with the Miles Morales, he still had what webbing, he still had fingers, but the whole turning invisible, how you call it, cloaking, and the electric pulse that comes out of him. I'm like, where did that come from? But again, the minds of the writers. I mean, good storytelling, coming up with something a little bit more unique, so that way he stands out from the rest. I mean, forget his culture, forget just the fact that not completely similar, but different than the original Peter Parker. And that's cool. I mean, I would love to see that. I would love anime to bring any of those characters to life and do a good storyline. And again, if it's Peter Parker, dude, I would wholly would love them to do the whole thing with the Sinister Six. Established.
Mm-hmm.
That they got together, and then they formulated a plan and executed it.
What's up? I thought they were gonna make or it was supposed to come out already. The Craven.
Soon to come out. I think
They
it's
pushed
on
it back
October.
twice already, though.
Yeah, no, they push it back, but it's in October.
Okay.
Definitely in October because remember it's gonna clash with some other stuff, and I think because Comic Con is coming around the corner, they really want to give it the impact, so that way us nerds there are gonna either rush out of Comic Con and go to theaters.
Right, right.
So yes, they want to have that impact. Like for instance, the fact that Superman and Lois was supposed to fall on that same weekend, but they're gonna start on the 7th. So
Okay.
the first week of October, they're going to start there. So that way, after they watch it, the buzz is going to be about. And even though it's the last season,
Yeah.
no, I happen to like that show. I really do. They did some great storytelling with that, and I understand if it costs too much, then put it on the streaming platform if you have to.
I've been a fan of that show from the first episode.
Exactly.
When he helps, the car is coming towards a kid, he picks it,
Mm-hmm.
and the kid goes, "I like your suit," and he looks at it, he goes, "My mom made it."
Exactly.
That was to me the most humblest thing in the world. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be Superman."
When I saw Tyler for the first time in Supergirl, and they had their scenes on certain episodes together, there was this one scene in the episode that I liked when they were both fighting crime, dealing with crime in National City. So there's a bank robbery happening, and then they both rushed over. Supergirl flies in front of the car. Car stops, hits her, and then they try reversing back, and boom, he's behind her. He says, "Yeah, I'm with her." And so they both get out, each one pointing their gun, one at Supergirl, one at Superman, and they're emptying the whole clip. Then the dude decides to come over and punch him, and then he grabs him. It's like,
Why would you punch somebody who's impervious to?
but that's the fun part. He picks him up, he holds him, and said, "I understand the bullets, right? Why the punching? Why the punching?" Like, and then he tosses him down, and he's out. It's like I could never understand that. But that was hilarious, and from that moment, I said they picked a good actor to play him. It really did. Tyler Hoechlin is an amazing actor for that part.
And back to Spider-Man.
Back to Spider-Man. So, as going to what you were saying with anime, yes,
Can he fight any superhero, any supervillain?
that's a very good question. It's like because the rogues that they wrote and created for him, but they vary.
Mm-hmm.
They really vary. They're not just like Mysterio is more about illusion, but his spider sense, kind of beats him each time because an illusion is still an illusion. The reality of that illusion, his spider sense can see through. Right? When you look at the Scorpion, well, the Scorpion is just a man in a suit in the comic books, but still a man in a suit, and he's not too much of a threat when you look at it that way because Spider-Man has managed to web him up and be done with him, and that's it. The troublesome, or the ones that cause the most problems in his life, definitely the Green Goblin. His best friend that becomes the Hobgoblin. So you have that because strength and speed in the movies already achieved through the Green Mist, and then you have the glider and the weapons that follow. So yes, he became more of a challenge in that respect. Not par equal, but there as far as the challenge is concerned. Because I know when Andrew Garfield faced a similar version, but the thing is, they try to make it seem like that he is kind of like, has the abilities of Spider-Man. He didn't, even though they extracted all of whatever was inside those spiders that bit him to give him his abilities. They extracted that, and he injected himself with that, but he didn't have any spider abilities. Yeah, he was strong, but he looked weird and different, and he had a glider. So he became, that version of a hobgoblin or a green, a hobgoblin because it wasn't his father, it was him. So, and then, if you go down the list of all the others, Craven was an interesting one. Craven, is a hunter. So he tried to hunt down Spider-Man. And again, it always boils down to, you know, his abilities versus its abilities versus abilities. A hunter and his instincts and whatever versus Spider-Man and his climbing of webs, spider sense, being able to travel across building to building. His and of course the most important part, his proportionate spider strength.
The one thing I didn't understand about Craven, he wants to hunt Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't he want to hunt Rhino? I mean, Rhino was literally a rhino. He didn't want to hunt him down.
True.
And
Rhino is literally a rhino, but he became he was a man who found a way, I don't know whether it's through Hulk blood or whatever, to transform himself, and then he became pretty much a human rhino.
Right. But Craven doesn't want him. No, he wants Spider-Man.
He wants Spider-Man because he provided him more of a challenge in that respect. More of a challenge than the Rhino, because you're talking about brute force. That's basically much Rhino, brute force.
Versus intelligence.
And versus intelligence. He's more of a more challenging prey than someone that's just brute force. Brute force, you could always find some way of defeating brute force by finding the weakness and taking it out. Now, someone who has the intelligence to maybe outthink you, outmaneuver you, but that's a challenge. That becomes a great prey. I mean, it's like the predators. The predators always go back to humans because humans have found to be the more deadliest of their prey because they outthought them. They figured them out and outthought them. Remember, the first one they came in contact with was what? A soldier.
Now that you mentioned Predator, that's a good segue to come back to, because right now we are going to a commercial break, and I have one question that I think would be very interesting. I am Meals on Wheels Lou.
I'm Lovely Mo.
We'll be right
back.
Come, let's play. LDM Radio. Come, let's play. Fun is what we crave.
Let's go.
You're listening to New York City's LDM Radio. Another long stretch of continuous music.
Back into time. Flashback.
Make my move, gonna live my dream, gonna live my
New York City's LDM Radio.
The best radio station in the world is right here, right now.
I'm Wet Fluid Lou. Mo?
I'm Antifreeze Mo.
Okay. And we are back. And as I mentioned before the commercial break, I have a very interesting question, which I think a lot of you nerds and geeks will like, because I know I like it, the question. And I sounded very Spanishy there, like it. But I liked the question that I came up with.
Shoot.
You already know.
Oh.
Predator versus Spider-Man.
Ooh. Wow. Now.
Number one, who would win? Or would you call it a draw?
Oh, you know what? That's a good question. You know, it's like.
Number two, can he keep up with the Predator, strength-wise?
Well, Predator's an alien, so he has enhanced strength. But Spider-Man has proven that his proportionate strength of a spider is strong. I mean,
yeah, superhuman.
Superhuman. I mean, even in was it the Civil War, when the highlight reel that Tony Stark was showing and shows that he caught a 3,000-pound truck before it hit the bus, and he has stopped the Winter Soldier like nothing and hold his. I mean, with this that super soldier show, I'm like, you got a metal arm?
Yeah.
And he was bending it. I was like, and even soldiers like, oh damn, arm.
Yeah, exactly.
So he does have that proportionate strength. So and strength wise, even. But now it's going to come down to skill. Now the Predator has his weapons, some of which could do some serious damage if Spider-Man is caught by it. But the advantage I'm still going to give to Spider-Man because, quite frankly, the Spider Sense is going to save him each and every time. If he tries to use his shoulder cannon, he's going to sense it and evade it. And again, the spider web itself is a tensile strength of steel or stronger. Now, though though he has things that can cut that, the thing is, if he wraps him, if he gets him in the position where he can wrap enough of it around him, game over.
Yeah.
Now, would he kill him? No. He does have a code, but I say this, and some of us.
You think the code would save a Predator? No. I mean, it's either
No, I mean, if anything, they would have to write it that either an accident or something befalls him. He tried to save him or whatever, to show mercy, and if something horribly goes wrong, Predator dies. That's the only way I could see that. Because the only time I've ever read that Spider-Man has come and I'm saying hairlines close to killing someone, would be Kingpin. That episode where they hurt Aunt May, and he knew, and he went into the jail itself, and took it off, and he made it clear he was Peter Parker. And at that point, in front of all the inmates, I mean, he put a beat down. Mommy has given me the worst cangatazos they could be, and this guy put more than doble de canatazos to the Kingpin within an inch of his life. That he let him know that. He didn't kill him though, but he let him know. He was an inch away from being killed by a scrawny little kid with the proportionate strength of a spider, and he realized what he was up against. I'm like, whoa, and whoa. But that was like, I read that scene like 3 or 4 times, even blow, bomb. I'm like, dude, what? And then see him just hold him close and just remind him what I did to you. In front of your inmates, in front of the people who will look at you and go, no, I'm not messing with you. I'm not messing with this kid. No, after what he did to you, you go do it yourself. Get out of prison and go do it yourself, bro.
So to the original question.
I'm gonna give it to Spider-Man over the Predator.
I'm gonna agree with you.
Yep.
I'm gonna definitely agree with you.
Because again, he has the tools, but as far as skill, speed, strength, and the fact that he has the spider sense to avoid some of his attacks.
The reason why I ask is I believe that's the next Marvel thing. They did Wolverine Predator, and I think Spider-Man should be either facing off a Predator or an alien. I'm not sure. But rumor has it.
With a xenomorph, it's like xenomorph, the worst thing he would have to worry about is the acid for blood. If he gets cut, and even if he's wrapped in web, that's not going to hold. No. Got to watch that tail. So again, the spider sense is going to, his agility and spider sense are going to be definitely, his advantage over these two. But the alien has agility too. And he can climb the walls just like him. So in that respect, they're kind of even in that respect. Webbing and the spider sense will be his only advantage against it. Especially if you don't want that third mouth coming out of nowhere and gabbing you if you're face to face. You want to web that mouth shut.
But yeah. That's what you into.
Yeah, well, okay. Kids, cover your eyes. But yeah, I give it to him. I give it to him in that respect. When you look at, like you said before, when you look at like the villains that are out there, who you go up against, it's like, for instance, when they had that crossover when they were in the DC universe, I mean, Spider-Man and Joker. Now Joker's just insane, and he would have to figure that out. when dealing with him, that he's just a regular human, but he's just insane, and you just can't take anything for granted. His spider sense will only be the only thing that will save his life against him, because you don't know what he's gonna do.
I mean,
This is the Joker we're talking about.
Joker's so crazy, he went against Superman. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy. And he killed his family on purpose in the Injustice series just to see if Superman would kill. Just to see it. And did he see it? Without a heart, of course, because Superman kind of ripped that out in one punch. But he did prove the point
Yeah.
that the greatest of all heroes can be knocked down the peg. And there's a breaking point, and then can turn to a villainous person.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing about Joker. He's more up here than he is in here. He doesn't have the physical or whatever, but up here,
Kind of
dangerous.
like Spider-Man. He's more up there than.
that's what I mean. It was going to take intelligence in a way to defeat him, but you will definitely need, as far as the strength and his senses, to overcome him.
I
That's
wonder
for sure.
Who would win, Spider-Man or Miles Morales? Spider-Man.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will probably say Miles Morales because he can go invisible and he has those electric pulses.
Yeah, that's
But
Spider Sense still kicks in.
Spider Sense still kicks in, and you will feel it before it happens. But doesn't mean he won't surprise him.
No.
Doesn't mean he won't surprise him. But blow for blow, I'll give the edge to Peter Parker on that one. Because they're going to be equal as far as
Yeah.
the fists are concerned.
And
Webbing.
what if for some reason the two, Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Man Peter Parker meet? Oh, that'd be great.
That's an awesome fight in itself, because
Yes.
they're evenly matched with the exception of the claws that he possesses, but pretty much evenly matched. I'd say get some beer and popcorn and watch the fight happen, bro. Or be the dude in the middle. You ready?
Yeah.
You ready? Let's get it on!
Yeah.
Like in the MMA, right in the octagon, bro. Just
Oh,
like
God.
that, because it's going to be a hell of a match. I can't give the edge to either one. It's pretty much like in baseball and boxing, one punch or one swing of the bat.
Now, do you feel that Spider-Man, because he's about the only one that hasn't, should get an upgrade in superpowers?
That's a good question. And I would tend to say,
And I'm not talking about Spider-Man in terms of, oh, Miles Morales got this guy got that. No, I mean the real Peter Parker.
the real Peter Parker had an upgrade, and he was Captain Universe.
Right.
But that's not that was a temporary effect in which Captain Universe used his body to in effect, because the Captain Universe sensed something that was going to happen to the planet, so he took over Spider-Man. Spider-Man had his power. Cause I remember there was that one where he punched the Juggernaut so hard you wouldn't think. He has proportionate strength, but if he was to punch him as Spider-Man, it's like Juggernaut just kind of laugh it off.
Mm-hmm.
But as Captain Universe, my man sent him into another zip code, like a Western zip code, where he landed into another couple of 40 states away from him. I'm like, what? Even I was like, what's Captain Universe? Damn! He just sent him.
So we agree he needs an upgrade.
Oh yeah, he could use an upgrade. Maybe as time passes, his powers evolve more and more, more strength, or even the fact that his spider sense could be more clairvoyant, in a sense where it doesn't not only senses the danger, but it could see what the danger is.
Yeah.
In a clairvoyant sort of way. Again, it's to you writers out there. Again, taking it and just spinning something.
Maybe he should take the Connor's serum, and whenever he loses a ligament, it can grow back.
Ooh.
A limb, I mean.
Yeah, but it has the side effect of becoming a lizard, but he's giving him reptilian DNA. He already has the DNA, pretty much the DNA of a spider.
Right. Okay.
Which, at one point, he had to reverse, because remember, in the beginning years, the bite started transforming him into an actual spider.
Yes, with the other arms and everything. Yes.
Exactly. So I would say more of a booster if he had lost a limb to then create the limb, but without the effect of it turning arachnid in that respect. Because then now you're turning a hero into a horror film.
Right. Okay.
So in that respect, yes. An upgrade, maybe, as time evolves, a clairvoyancy. I mean, if he's, Tom Holland, regular, then it's just him figuring out a better way or just enhancing the spider fluid to make a stronger web, much stronger web. Even if he found a way to get the chemical properties of, say, adamantium, and then add that to the web. Now you have adamantium web. So when you definitely hit someone, it's the hell? It's like you're stuck, you're done, in that respect. Okay. So those kind of upgrades. You hear that, Marvel, DC? You can thank us later. Small check, probably.
As for Amanda, I hope we answered enough of your questions about Spider-Man.
Oh,
even though there's always a lot more.
There is a lot more. Like I said, there's a multiverse of different Spider-Mans that are out there. But like you, I do like the old. And I like that Tom Holland encompasses that, but I would like to see more of it.
Yes,
I would love to see more.
In terms of comic books, Spider-Man is the man.
He is the man. He is the ultimate superhero. And again, for the both of us, I think I could say the young version, the one that came from the high school, not the college version that you see there, but the high school kid that we all know and love.
Always
that's
came
ours.
Home, he had his own personal problems, but dealt with it.
Definitely. Yep.
He dealt with it, and he dealt with it smartly.
And always, and it was always a sense to me, and I think you will agree that Aunt May knew, but never revealed.
Yeah.
Aunt May was kind of like his guardian, not his guardian angel, but his
mother.
Well, his mother in a way, but his moral core, the angel that gave him purpose in the core, like in was it the
and not
second
the movie Aunt May.
No.
So we're talking about the comic book version.
Book version of Aunt May.
Yes.
Even though I love Marissa Tomei.
Yes.
I love Marissa Tomei in that respect. She's, to me, my favorite out of all the Aunt Mays. She's my favorite. Mm-hmm. She is my favorite. I won't not lie, and I'm man enough to say that I did shed a tear upon her loss. And was it No Way Home? That just broke my heart.
Now the question is, will they bring her back? It is the alternate universe.
Well,
the MCU now.
In the Prime universe, gone. But in the universes that follows, like all the multiverse,
right?
There are always different variations of Aunt May out there. You really just don't know what he might come across. Again, Secret Wars is about multiverse and boom, bringing all these characters together to save their respective universes or to save the respective worlds. Wasn't that to say that he'd come across another version, but this one villainous? Or
could you imagine if Spider-Man was a bad guy? How dangerous would that be?
Extremely.
Yeah, I think that's a
topic
we need to bring up sooner or later.
Thank you, Amanda. You have opened the floodgates here.
Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe with that, in another multi-universe, the Ricans would continue, but I would be non-handicapped and Mo would be in a wheelchair. And with that, I'm Meals on Wheels Lou.
I'm the U-Haul Mo.
Have a good one, guys.
Take care. Live long and prosper.